My name is Lorien Sumpter and I'm a personal life coach. And I like to call myself the potentiator. And now I've gotten people to call me the potentiator. Why? Because I believe that everyone should go beyond their potential. So my show is called Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way. I was born and raised in London. My parents are originally from Jamaica. My father came to England in the 50s. So the interesting thing about my father couldn't read, couldn't write, just couldn't do it. We would try to teach him, and what I found out was that I'm a big networker. So I network a lot and I share a lot, and I was sharing about my father with one of the gentlemen in one of my networking groups, and he said to me, "You ever thought that your father might have been dyslexic?" And I was like, no, I actually didn't, because my father worked every day. We had our own house. I had my dance classes and my ballet. He went to work every day. He took care of us. We never went without. The lights never went out. My father was a big news watcher, and he also listened to the radio. Anything to do with the news, it was like, shh, shh, hush up, the news is on. 6 o'clock news. Dun, 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 dun. No, that was 9 o'clock or the 10 o'clock news. Anyway, and he would get his news. So it turns out that my friend who I'm networking with, he is also dyslexic. However, he was able to get the treatment. It's like years later, my father, back in those days, they didn't have any treatment in Jamaica for people who were dyslexic. But he hit me to the fact that my father was dyslexic or could have been dyslexic. That's why he couldn't figure it out. He couldn't learn to read or write. But my father was amazing. I always thought that I was more like my mother. But what I've discovered is that I'm more like my father, and I can read and write. I came here in 1985, and I had to recreate myself and also recreate friends and family, because I was here on my own apart from being married to my husband. So I had to reinvent myself. My maiden name was Johnson, and I did not want to live in America with the maiden name of Johnson. So when I married my husband, I took his name. And when we got divorced, he wanted it back. But it was like I wasn't going to give it back, because I'd recreated myself with this name. And I was not going to go back to Johnson. I was not going to be Johnson, So, I came to America with 60 pounds, which was about $120. They said $1 in a dream. Well, I didn't have a dream. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was going to do. All I knew is that I was coming. I met my husband. We were going to get married, and I was going to live happily ever after. Well, I married him. For 12 years we were married, and we didn't live happily ever after, but I am absolutely damn sure that I am going to live happily ever after, no matter what shows up in my life. I'm committed to having a full and expanded life, and that when I die, I am so crispy and so worn out and so old that the funeral partner is going to look at me and say, "Oh my God, what are we going to do with that?" But actually, really what I want is I want to leave my body to science. I'm committed to leaving my body to science, and I filled out the thing at the back of your driver's license, even though I have a non-driving license, that I want to give my body to science, and that's what I'm going to do. So let me tell you about when I was 11. Pretty much my hair hasn't changed that much. Only thing is I don't really comb it these days. But at 11, I pretty much had the same hairstyle that I've had when I was 11. So at 11, I go to secondary school. And in London, we call it secondary school. It's not called middle school, and it's not called high school. It's called secondary school. And I went to Lewisham Girls, which was an all-girls school. And my first day of school, because I was a little bit of a tyrant in primary school, but I made a commitment that I was going to be really good in secondary school. I wasn't going to get in trouble. I wasn't going to talk a lot. I wasn't going to get into any fights. I was not going to be cheeky. I was just going to be really good. So the first day I go to school, you know, I've got my little afro. It's nicely cut. I've got my little tie, my little bow tie, and my cardigan, and square skirt with the one pocket, and, you know, my white socks, and my little flat shoes, little flat black shoes. And I go into school because I'm looking good, I'm feeling good. When everybody's got on fashion gear, my mother had went to the school shop and spent an arm and a leg on the school shop clothes, where you could have gone to C&A's, Marks and Spencer's, or wherever, and get the same uniform. It didn't matter what style, but it just had to be the colors. But anyway, I would like, whatever, you know, I still look good. So we're online, and so the girl in front of me was shocking red hair, really short and plump. She says, "What did they say?" And I said, "They said blah, 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 blah," whatever that was. All of a sudden, I hear my name coming. I didn't know my name so fast, right? I'm like, here I am, 11. I'm like, I just made a commitment to be good, and I'm being called out, "Lorien Johnson, shut it. Shut your mouth and stop talking." And I'm like, well, damn, I just got here, and I just made the declaration. Already I'm in trouble. That was the worst. And so then so we're coming out of the our house room now, and I'm walking through the door, and there's two older girls, not much older, maybe 2 years older, but you know, you're 11, they're what, 12, 13. They come out and they say, "Oh, look at her, she's so cute. She looks like a little monkey. She looks like Galen from Planet of the Apes." And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like really angry, and I want to fight. However, I'm not going to fight these girls because, one, they're 2 years ahead of me and they're bigger than me. But I was mad. Anyway, fast forward, I would see them in the hallway and they'd go, "Hey, Galen, how you doing?" And I'm like, my name's Noreen, it's not Galen. But I was mad because I thought, well, maybe I'm just really ugly. You know, why they're calling me that. But I realized, I said, no, I'm fine from the head up. I probably look like Galen. From here down, I was normal, right? So I didn't realize how that, you know, we don't realize how names, and I don't think that they were being bitchy. I don't think that they were being bullies. I think that they would just really thought I looked like Galen. Well, I had a cute little face. Turns out that Galen, once you watch Planet of the Apes a couple of times, he was actually the smart guy. He was actually the smart monkey. And so it impacted me, but I really did not know that it impacted me at all. But what happened was that, so now fast forward, I'm older and I'm dating, and boys would chat me up and stuff. And you know, it took a while for boys to chat me up because I did look like a boy myself, right? Boys would chat me up, but I'm thinking, oh my God, they probably just want to bag me and do me. You know, like put a bag over my head, because I look like Galen. I'm not cute. I'm not good looking. I'm not as good looking as my friends who were really good looking. What I did know about myself, though, was that I was smart, right? And so I always dated really nice looking men, but I always had the question of, why did they want me? Right? What was it about me that they wanted? I had good personality, I was smart, but I wasn't pretty. And I thought that pretty was the thing, right? This is what I said about myself. So fast forward now, I'm 30 years old, and I've been doing all this transformational work, and I'm walking down the street. I'm walking down Myrtle Avenue one day. I used to be a real estate broker. And I'm walking down Myrtle Avenue, and like out of the blue, I hear this, "You don't feel good about yourself." And I turn around, I'm like, who said that? Right? It was my, you know, it was just like my mind was talking to me, sort of. And then I walked some more, and I was like, "You think you're ugly." And I was like, oh my God, now it's getting really loud, right? This conversation. And I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, yeah. I do, like that. So I used to wear my hair, like when my hair was relaxed, I used to really wear big hair, bangs, and I always had bangs, right? And they would be always over my face, and people would say, "Oh, your hair looks great." But what I did was I made really nice hair so that it would take away from the face, right? So I'm in my bathroom now, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm talking to my mother on the phone, and my mother says, "How's your hair?" And I said, "What do you mean, how's my hair?" By now I've been wearing my hair natural. And she says, "How's your hair?" And I said, "Oh," she goes, "Is it still chocker chocker?" Because, you know, my mother's West Indian. "Is your hair chocker chocker?" Not like, is your hair natural, but is it chocker chocker? Like, what the hell is chocker chocker, right? So I said to her, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, it is still natural. And you know what? As I look in this mirror, I think I'm going to go get it cut because I just had this epiphany, right?" And so I go next door to the barber shop and I say to the guy, "Take it off." And he says, "What?" I said, "Cut it all off, make it really, really short." So I had it really, really close cut. So I'm coming out of the barber shop and this guy says to me, "Hey, princess." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm talking to you," like that. And I was like, he goes, "Your hair looks really great and you look really beautiful." And I was like, "Oh, thank you," like that. That was the first time ever I mean, it's not that people haven't told me I was good looking or beautiful or any of that stuff, but I just hadn't heard it because I had my own internal conversations running around in my head, right? And even when I was married, I didn't realize that very rarely did I do face to face or eye to eye with my husband, right? Or eye to eye with, these are things that I'm starting to discover about myself. I'm not doing eye to eye conversations, right? And so that I used to have a girlfriend and she was gorgeous. My girlfriend was tall and she was lean and she had long flowing hair and she was Spanish and sexy and all these kind of things, right? And we went out. We were on our way out, and we were walking through the World Trade Center at the time, and I heard somebody go, "Hey, beautiful," like that. And I was talking to you. He goes, "Nah, I'm not talking to her. I'm talking to you." That was the first time ever that I realized that I'd been messing in other people's gardens, looking at other people's beauty instead of honoring my beauty. In that moment, I realized I am beautiful and I am me, and my beauty is mine and her beauty is hers, and never should I have to compare my beauty or put myself in the background or say things like, "I have a great personality. I might not be good looking, but I have a great personality and I'm smart." No, I'm beautiful. I'm amazing, and I really want us to all step into that, our beauty, our own amazingness, because if I think I'm beautiful, then the world is going to think I'm beautiful, because I'm going to do beautiful things. And in that moment, I really got like, wow, I had been trekking in my girlfriend's garden for so many years, looking at her beauty rather than looking at my own. I always looked at my smarts, and I always looked at like, well, she's beautiful, but she has no personality. She doesn't know how to carry a conversation. She doesn't know how to engage with people. I know how to do that. And I knew how to do that because I wasn't beautiful. But I'm here to tell you today that I'm amazing and I'm gorgeous. And also one of the things I learned was, you know, when you take photographs, so you take a photograph and you go, "Oh, that's not good enough." Like back in the day, you take a photograph, we didn't have like cell phones where you could get rid of it. You could just take a photograph and that was it. And you got it, you put it in the album or you hid it in the album. Now today, all of those photographs are absolutely beautiful. I look at those photographs. I just posted a bunch of photographs on my Instagram of me at 25 and 30 and stuff like that. And I realized, oh my God, you were a really good looking girl. So now what I do is like, when somebody takes a picture of me and they say to me, "How is that picture?" I said, "It's fine, it's perfect," you know, because 10 years from now, a year from now, it's not even going to matter, right? 100 years from now, I'm going to look back and go, "Oh my God, you were so beautiful." So it doesn't even matter because I'm beautiful now. And so what I'm saying is, take your photographs, have fun, enjoy yourself, deem yourself beautiful, and be beautiful and live a beautiful life. And that's it. So most of my clients come to me and they complain about they're not living to their full potential. Well, I say that I don't want my clients living to their full potential. I want my clients to live beyond their potential. Think about Richard Branson. Richard Branson, if he hadn't just lived to his potential, he would have just had Virgin Records, right? And he wouldn't have done anything else. He has Virgin Airlines, he has Virgin and Virgin, and he has all these various different organizations and companies, and alliances that he has with people, and he has gone beyond his potential. So I like to know and like to work with people who are willing to go beyond their potential. And I've been coaching now for 13 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I have amazing clients, and even if they came to me and they didn't feel that they were amazing, I see my clients as amazing, nothing more, nothing less, so that they can then step into their amazingness by taking on the challenges that they have come to get over. So most of us don't like to take challenges. We want to be comfortable inside of our everyday lives. We want to hide out from our circumstances that are not working instead of taking the risk. But the difference is, people that coach do not want to hide out. They want to take the challenges, they want to take the risks, and they take the actions to move themselves forward. When I work with a client, it's a series of conversations, and it's a series of weekly conversations that I have with people. And what I do is I help them to be accountable. So they set goals and then they take actions, right? So an example of that would be, I had my very first client, who is actually still working with me today. My very first client was a pro bono client. I was doing my certification at NYU. She was a woman that had 5 cats. All of the cats were sick with some form of cat AIDS. And she was spending a small fortune on these cats. She was on a job that she didn't like. She was underpaid. She lived in a rickety apartment where the guy downstairs was smoking weed, and it would come up through the floorboards. She spent every Saturday sending out resumes looking for another job. And when I met her, I asked her if she would stop doing that, stop sending out the resumes. And she said, yeah. She goes, what am I going to do? And I said, first of all, we have to create the job that you want. What does the job look like? You know, if it were a taste, what would it taste like? If it were a texture, what kind of a texture would it have? What do you see yourself doing, right? What would you like to do? So we sat there and we devised all the things that she would like to do. Now, some people think this is pie in the sky, but I think that if you have a clear, concise plan with anything, and you have someone help you to be accountable, anything is possible. So the long story short of it, there was this job that used to come across her desk, and she would say to me, I'm not going to look at that job because I don't want to relocate. And so I said to her, well, you know, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to, because I don't believe in us doing things that we don't want to do. I think that we should do things that inspire us, generate us. And I know some things don't inspire us, but sometimes to be generated, we have to do little things that we don't like to do, right? I don't like to do billing, but I know in order to keep my business going, I have to do billing, right? So I do the billing. I like spending the money, but I just don't like doing the billing. So in any case, I said to her, how would you like to use this job? How could we use this job? And she was like, I don't know. I said, think about it. I said, you know, she's an engineer. And she said, what I could do is I could investigate. I said, great, I'd love you to investigate this job. So after we sat down and discovered what income she wanted, what she wanted to do, what her job and the experience that she'd like to have. She wanted to speak. She wanted to travel with her job. She wanted co-workers where she could share different pieces of information, and she had a good community, and she didn't have this with this job. So anyway, we took the job that came across her desk, and she went out on an interview. And because she wasn't attached, and I always say not to be attached to anything, because she wasn't attached to this job, she could interview freely and not worry about how it's going to show up. Well, it turns out that she interviewed for this job, and it was the absolute perfect job for her. She'd gone out and she wanted about $80,000, right? Because she was making, I think, about 60 at the time. After she interviewed, she came back to me and she says, I want 120. And I said, well, would you be willing to ask for it? And if they said no, will you be okay with it? She said, yeah, I want to ask for it. So she asked for it, and they gave it to her. Not only did they give her the 120, right? They gave her the ability to travel, to speak on behalf of her company, to go to conferences and speak. Then we had to create the apartment. Now, here's the funny thing. She's living in this rickety apartment where the floorboards are loose and the guy's smoking weed downstairs and it's coming up through the floors. She made a list of all the things that she wanted in her new apartment, and one of the things that she missed out, which I can't live without, which is a dishwasher. I said, would you like to have a dishwasher? She says, nah, I've been washing dishes for like 20 years. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. So I said, okay, but you can put it down. She goes out and she's looking for this apartment, and she forgets her list, because she likes to use the list. She forgets her list in Philadelphia, and she's in Michigan. And she finds an apartment that she likes. Fast forward, comes back, has a session with me. She says to me, Noreen, I found an apartment that I want to live in. And guess what? It has a dishwasher. So I said, great. She got every single thing that she wanted on the list, right? Because she created it. And she got a dishwasher. She didn't really know the value of a dishwasher, but in one of our sessions, she reported back to me that the dishwasher takes 3 hours of her week, which I think is a big deal, right? So I say this to say that she created a job that was brand new with all the things that she desired and wanted, and took actions to go out there and get them. She interviewed for one job, and it was the job that she said she didn't want because she didn't want to relocate. Now, here's the sad but funny thing. All of the cats, bar one, died. So I say this to say that when we're ready to take the necessary actions, all the obstacles that are originally in the way are now taken out of the way so that we can go forth and live our lives. I have so many stories like that. And that's just my first client who I still work with today. And some might say, why is she still working with you 12, 13 years later? Well, our lives are not fixed. Our lives are steadily moving, shifting, and changing. You know, she wanted to find a lover. She wanted to deal with things that was not working with her family. She wanted to deal with the way she dealt with herself, money, finances. You know, this is a lady that didn't take vacations. Now she takes 3 vacations a year. This is a lady that didn't get along with her family. Now her family and her, they see each other regularly. And her parents haven't changed. Her sister hasn't changed. What's happened is she just transformed herself and transformed the way she listened to these people. And that's how her whole life came about. So how do I help people? I just help people to see what's in front of their faces. I help them to see their whole lives. I help them to tell the truth, because oftentimes we don't tell the truth to ourselves. We sugarcoat stuff or avoid stuff. We wake up in the morning and say, I got out the wrong side of the bed. There is no wrong side of the bed. And I know a lot of people, if you live in New York, your bed is probably not on a wrong side. You probably don't have sides. You probably have it bunched up against a wall. So you only have one side to get out of. Anyway, I would say that we get to choose how we want to live our lives. I choose to live my life happily. I choose to face all the obstacles and the trauma and all the things that we have to go through, face them, own them, then make clear, concise choices and efforts to take the action so that those things don't have to show up in your life. I believe that once you've learned a lesson, you never have to learn it again. But if you haven't learned the lesson, you are doomed to repeat it over and over and over again. And that's why you hear people say, why is this always happening to me? Well, if we stop and take a look, we'll get to see what it is that we are doing, right? Or basically, the way I like to say is, who are we being? If I'm being bitchy, right, I'm going to attract bitchy people. I'm going to do bitchy things, and people won't like me. Right? Why am I doing bitchy things more often than not? It's because I don't like myself, right? That's me. I love myself. I was watching a Netflix show this weekend, and it was about Christian Louboutin. I mean, lots of people know Christian Louboutin because he makes those shoes that cost about $3,000 to $6,000+, and everybody wants them and everybody loves them. And he makes these shoes. He's a little bit eccentric because he has to be eccentric to be creating the shoes that he does and create the style that he does. But what I loved about him that he said at the end of the show, he was kissing himself and hugging himself, and he was saying, I love myself. I love myself so much. And I'm a firm believer that it is important that we love ourselves. If we don't really get that we are the most important people in our lives, then we can't make other people important. But if we put ourselves first in a way that supports us, then, I always feel that I'm going to take care of the person in front of me. I believe that world peace doesn't happen out there. I believe that world peace happens in here, and then it goes out and feeds the rest of the world. My world, I give you my peace, you have your own peace, and then we have world peace as a collective. So I really think it's important to love ourselves and also not to compromise. For you to get what you want without compromising yourself and compromising another person. This show it's about sharing oneself, it's about loving oneself, it's about creating one's passion. It's about doing the things in life that make you happy and facing the fears but not letting fear have you. And this show will be a mashup of conversations. I will talk about forgiveness. I will talk about love. I will talk about passion. I will talk about boundaries. I will talk to individuals who have really amazing careers that they have created because they're like passionately in love with their careers and what they do for a living. We've all got to do something for a living. We've all got to work. Why not do work that satisfies your soul? So we'll be talking about people living life their way through their careers. I'm really excited to be with Manhattan Neighborhood Network to use this facility to share my thoughts, my opinions, bring people in. You can email me at Noreen, Noreen, at NoreenSumpterCoach.com, and hoping that we'll have a great time together.